Well, ladies and gents, welcome back to my special program, The Sinking of the Pacific Ocean Liner. Yeah, I only watched 10 minutes of this and I already have his argument completely shot. I'm going to do the rest of it just for fun. But basically, what it all comes down to is that apparently this guy doesn't understand, I don't know, per capita. Uh, yeah.
Hey viewers,
Hey, Pacific!
it's Friday.
It is.
Why don't we kick off the end of the week with something really positive and upbeat? Let's talk about suicidal tendencies.
Oh, guys, don't get excited. He's not talking about himself.
We're going to do a couple different things here. I'm trying to flip through some pages here, so let's see.
If you could hold a thought.
I get the guck out of my eye. You ever hate eye guck?
Nope.
I call them eye boogers. Anyways, I thought this was interesting.
Yeah, but you're like a goldfish or a macaque. You think everything's vaguely interesting.
I'm going to leave the best for last on this one. But I wanted to give you the highest 10 top
Please stop grooming yourself on the camera. It's really freaking weird.
states in the United States for the highest in suicide. And then I want to tell you,
No, highest per capita for suicide.
it's very interesting which side of the United States they're located in. And then I'm going to tell you as to why I think a lot of these states have a high suicide rate.
And I'm sure that your conclusions will be flawless as usual.
But and we're going to talk about breakdown by countries too, because that is a shocker.
I didn't get to any of that. I literally only watched like 7.5, a little under 10 minutes of this. So we'll see where he goes. I never even saw his finale. So maybe he'll blow me away. We'll see, guys.
It is a real shocker. It will surprise you what I read to you on the statistics on countries. But let's check this out. 10 states, 10 most suicidal states in America. Alaska comes in at number 1,
Yeah.
22.1 suicides per 100,000.
Now, see, you're saying it out loud there. You're saying 22.1 out of 100,000. You're not really clarifying the fact that that's because Alaska is the least populated state in the union. But
New Mexico is number 2 at 20.4 suicides per 100,000. Now, I'm going to forget the points. That's
you always forget points. That's kind of what your thing is.
ridiculous. Wyoming is number 3 at 19 per 100K. These are all per 100,000, so let's just shorten that. Montana, number 4 at 19. Nevada at 18. Colorado at number 6 at 16. Arizona at 16. And here's
Oh, dude, don't rush the camera like that. What's wrong with you?
a fly in the ointment. West Virginia, 15.
It's only a fly in the ointment if you're actually trying to read these as being like a deeper meaning, like not just numbers on a page that happen to coincide with people having killed themselves. You're reading into this quite deeply.
Almost 16 per 100,000. Utah, 15. Oregon, 15.
Let's stop right there. I'm just going to have to break this real quick. And let's go here to the list of U.S. states and territories by population. Oh, wow, look at that. Alaska, Oregon, Washington, California, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah. Okay, Live Hagbard. This is Editing Hagbard, and, well, you fucked up. You see, you went to the wrong chart, and then you tried to roll with it, and anyone with a keen eye is going to see that that chart was ordered differently in a way that doesn't even prove your point. But just above that was the chart you wanted that does show that those states are, in fact, quite low in population. The only outlier in that list is actually California. But you see, this is called intellectual honesty. I made a mistake, and now I'm correcting it. Gee, I wonder how they got those per capita statistics now, huh?
Stop right there. Pacific. Why are there so many western states?
Well, because the Western states are evil, obviously.
Well, I'm going to tell you. This will shock you. First, let me get out of this screen. I live out west. I was born and raised in California, graduated school in Arizona, and I noticed that the suicide rate, males and females, the age category that is the highest among males and females is 45 to 54 years old, right where I'm at.
Again, don't get excited, guys.
I'm going to give you some things. I'm going to give you some things as to why, but let's talk about this breakdown of the states.
Please give me your extremely limited understanding of how these things work.
Why West Virginia? Here's the only East Coast state in the mix of 10 top states. Alaska,
He asks why West Virginia, but so far, he provides no answers.
New Mexico, Wyoming, Colorado, Montana, Oregon, Utah, Nevada. Why Utah?
You were asking why West Virginia. You've missed the point already. You can't keep a single thought in your freaking head to save your life, man. You can't, not to be crass. I know he's doing a video called Suicidal Tendencies, but if thoughts could save your life, then yeah, you wouldn't be able to hold on to one. I mean, West Virginia has a high suicide rate per capita because, again, it has a rather low population, and also because it is economically backwards and defunct. It doesn't have a whole lot of functioning industries, especially after coal dried up. But you don't seem to understand those things.
Now, Utah has a lot of Mormon family religion, right?
Obviously, Satanists.
Not so fast, cowboy. The West is very proud of its independence.
Yeah, God forbid they do that.
And I'm going to say something because I have lived in both the Midwest and the West.
Well, I've lived in the East Coast dumping pool of Florida, and I've also lived in Oregon. While I note the differences, I don't know what you're trying to get at about suicide rates.
I have not spent time in the East Coast, so I can't comment on the East Coast.
I can, and if you were being intellectually honest, you'd actually say that by not being able to comment about life on the East Coast, you wouldn't have previously commented or about to comment, I can't remember which, about the East Coast.
But it is my opinion based on what I've seen.
Uh-huh.
California, Arizona, Colorado, and Washington State. Washington State was not in there,
No, it wasn't, but it popped right into your head because it's one of those evil states.
which is interesting because Seattle is one of the highest in cities, I believe, or
It was in the mid-90s.
was for suicide. Kurt Cobain and his depressing music.
Obviously, it wasn't, again, a crushing economic depression in the middle 90s, culminating in the WHO conference.
The West tends to be a little less connected. The West is very fiercely rugged, individualistic. I'm going to go skiing. I want my SUV. Leave me alone.
So, when you were in the West, people recognized how crazy you were and avoided you.
Don't bother me. When I lived in the Midwest, yes, I thought Minnesota was weird, but I can honestly say I had more friends that cared about me up there than I do here.
Well, that's because Minnesota's full of crazy people. I mean, let's speak frankly here. You found other crazy people.
The two women that I dated that were both Korean,
Korean.
one is from Long Island,
Uh-huh.
one was from Buffalo.
Okay. I'm not sure what point that is.
They cared about me more than any of the women I have dated at all.
That that sentence doesn't even follow. Than any of the other women? Or did you just mean white women? You have a really weird Asian fetish. Like, I love Asian women, but it's not like, look, Asian women are the best. That's a weird statement. It just is.
Especially over and above any of the Colorado natives. So my findings are based on my personal opinion, my personal experiences.
Most people's are, unless they're actually doing scientific studies.
I've told you that the women in Colorado are very, very cold as ice.
Look, man, I can't imagine you being a fucking good barometer for how women act towards average men, no matter where you are.
But they're proud of their fierce independence.
And that's a problem for you because basically you're a beta pussy.
And we were made to deal with people. We were made to be interconnected. Any kind of interconnection you see in the West is more flaky. It's more entertainment oriented. But bonds, actual bonds, no.
Yeah, I've had the exact opposite experience. But then again, I don't imagine you're really good at forming bonds, like actual bonds.
When I lived in Duluth, I had a lot of friends. Guy friends and girl friends that I could call and do stuff with.
Because Duluth is a wildly boring place to be.
True story. But Utah's in there. Now, why is that? You got the Mormons, right?
And obviously it's their fault.
Well, I watched a video called The God Makers, and it said that a lot of Mormons, especially the boys, commit suicide because they can't live up to their perfectionist standard religion.
Luckily, I've never heard of that happening in the Asian community.
Mormonism does not show people forgiveness of sins, does not show the way to eternal life.
Oh, so it is personal with you.
Mormonism is a depressing hamster wheel religion.
Christianity is a depressing hamster wheel religion. Judaism is a depressing hamster. They're all based on the same Judeo-Christian bullshit. I mean, Islam is a slowly constricting hamster wheel that kills its participants. But
You got to do all this stuff and go round and round and round. Why Oregon? People told me how friendly Oregon is. Let me tell you something. Every time I've gone to Oregon, they're very closed.
that's because they hate Californians, because Californians are shitty people, you see. I actually just did a vacation in California, and the first thing that happened when I crossed the border was I got the finger. They don't like their rivals. If you move here, they're actually really, really nice and supportive and warn you about the winters and teach you things, and if they think you're going to stay. They don't like being used.
Very closed. I don't find Oregon friendly. I never have. I've never found them to be warm. Now, surprisingly, just traveling through, in some places, I found Montanans to be nice.
Again, you're talking about a whole different region, a whole different people. Montana's mostly farm country. I mean, I bet if you'd stopped at the farms around here, I mean, I bet your experience is what? The I-9 corridor? That's your experience of Oregon, where we're tired of dealing with you people? That's your whole experience of Oregon?
Wyoming has the third highest level of suicide, which I find interesting. But why Alaska?
Because there's no one there's no one there, man. There's fucking no one there. I stayed in Wyoming with some relatives of a girlfriend. There's no one there. These people just like drive out to the side of the road and shoot stuff with guns. Like, no shit. Just on the side of the highway. The sheriff drives by and they wave. They've got AK-47s and AR-15s and shit shooting guns and old cars. There's nothing there, dude. There's nothing in Alaska. There's nobody there. So when a suicide happens to one person, the stats count it higher when they rate all of the stats per capita. You see how that works?
I was reading an article that just this last week, there's been 3 suicides in a settlement called Hooper Bay, which is mostly natives.
Oh, well, now we're getting into a whole different issue. This is because these guys see no future for their people. I totally understand that.
Native Americans. We kind of know why that is. A lot of alcoholism in those Inuit Native American villages.
Jesus, talk about some hardcore victim blaming. God damn it, man. I don't even like saying that out loud. Victim blaming isn't something most people do, so when most people are accused of it, I look into it and find out, no, that wasn't victim blaming. But no, dude, you're literally victim blaming right now.
See, the government came in and took away their way of life, gave them snowmobiles, gave them free beer, and instead of making dugout canoes and
Whoa, gave them snowmobiles and free. Your understanding of this whole process is really fucked up.
Harpooning seals and doing the things they used to do. They've gotten used to TV. They've gotten used to alcohol. And they sit on their butts. And if
So you would prefer they still lived in abject poverty, like no future possible in the world as it evolved, like just still up there, probably starving to death in droves because the seal don't run anywhere near like they used to, and oh, but you don't give a fuck about any of this.
very cold, depressing climate that's cloudy most of the time, most of the year. Imagine being a teenager and growing up in that.
Yeah, I'd love it.
The West, to me, and I don't like certain things out east. The East is frenetic. The East Coast is in your face. It is fast paced. It is get out of the way or get run over.
I know that's the only thing I kind of miss about the East Coast. I mean, everyone around here is so nice that if I wanted to, I could roll over them, but you don't understand that. You miss the point entirely.
But yet, you would think New York, you'd think Michigan, you'd think Minnesota, the cold, depressing, wintry places. Wisconsin isn't in there. Ohio isn't in there. Michigan isn't in there. New York isn't in there. Why the West?
Well, again, high population for one, and for another, a lot of entertainment. I mean, these people, you just said it, they're frantic. They don't have a chance to sit down and go, hey, maybe it's time to check out. I mean, they just legalized, physician-assisted suicides, and Oregon's had it for a while, but California just finally got on. And I actually do endorse that. I'm completely fine with that. I think that's from a philosophical point of view, technically speaking, it's the only choice we're ever given. But I don't know, man. You're gonna blame it on something else, I'm sure.
Well, let me quote to you one of my friends who is Korean. She says, I have no friends here. I said, well, neither do I.
That's probably because you're both complete weirdos.
People say the West is friendlier, only on a superficial level. Duluth was a cold town, and it took me a while to break in, but when I broke in, when I was accepted, people cared.
So you're gonna judge Oregon, which you even admitted you only drove through, on your first impression, but because you stayed and realized that when people saw you were part of their community, their ideas of you shifted. You're a really dense guy.
We were going to Arkansas to get school buses from Duluth. It was winter.
I should go get some tea or something. He's gonna tell a story.
And I was tired. We all drove down in one of those minibuses, and I laid on the floor of the bus and I just went to sleep. But I heard the bus stop and they all decided to go into a restaurant.
You would be that weirdo that just said, fuck it, I'm laying down.
I wasn't hungry and I just laid on the floor.
Oh my god, I just got an image of what a busload of bus drivers, school bus drivers look like. Oh my god, that must have been a nightmare. I can't imagine that poor diner they walked into. Oh my god, just fucking more than a dozen of these raving lunatics. All of my school bus drivers were crazy like this. All of them. So I can't imagine what a full busload of them looks like. Good god.
And I remember one of the guys, Paul, when he left, before he left, he carefully draped his jacket over my shoulders to keep me warm because the heaters would be off. He didn't know I was awake. I had one eye open and I was like, wow. No, he was not gay. He ended up marrying a coworker.
Jesus, that jumped into your head and not mine. I'm sitting here listening to your story, bro. Good god.
And I went to his wedding. Paul cared. Paul was nice. Paul
Paul had relationships with you the whole time you worked there. You were colleagues. I mean, what do you.
was innocent in so many ways. And there was a lot of things I complained about Duluth and the Iron Range. There's no doubt about it.
But in retrospect, it seems so nice. You know, I have a lot of memories like that.
But I had gal friends that cared about me. I had a friend who was beautiful, reddish hair, all the way down to her butt. I met her in a laundromat and she was bizarre.
I can't imagine. Oh, fuck. You thought she was weird. Jesus.
But you know what? She liked me. She went to church with me. She got rid of her tarot cards. And she was very good looking. And then I remembered I met this guy who was somewhat cocky.
Yeah, I know pretty crazy girls. I mean, they're a lot of fun, but I kind of feel bad if I actually have sex with them.
Not what I call handsome guy, but he went to UMD and he had just become a Christian. He says, Nels, when I first met you, I thought you were a total geek and a nerd. And I thought, yeah, and I thought the same about you, but I didn't tell him that.
Because he was being honest, and you're not really great at that with people.
And when I told him about my friend, he mentioned her first and last name. He said, you know her? Oh my gosh, she's weird. She was like the outcast. I said, you know what?
But I thought people in Duluth were just so nice. What?
I'm one of the first people that's reached out to her and cared. And as a Christian, he just shook his head. Nels, I can't believe you're hanging out with her. Yeah, that's why you're not reaching anybody for Christ, right, brother? He's coming to church with me.
Good God, like this is I just realized this is how you do this. You get on this camera full of the self-confidence because you're doing it for the Christ. Oh, Jesus.
What a shame I went and got married. I wrote that girl a letter and I said I will not be seeing you anymore because I'm getting married.
And I'm incapable of having female friends without wanting, oh, I must have the sexy now. Oh. You're a human version of, you're a real life human version of Torgo.
I've recently tried to search her down and I can't find her. I think she was deeply hurt.
Of course she was. You had absolutely no reason to do that, man. You could have still been friends. Maybe.
What I'm trying to say is I had friends in the Midwest that when I finally broke in and I was accepted and they liked me.
When you finally broke in, which means that for a long time they seemed cold to you, which is, I mean, again, I hate to belabor a point, but
You know who I got along with in Duluth?
I'd imagine other weirdos.
People that had been abused. People that were kind of misfits. Tina was a nice girl.
You see, the thing is, I attract those same types of people. I do, because I'm not a normal guy. I'm kind of weird. But I'm the kind of weird that I try and actually like uplift the people around me. Like you try and just bring them to Christ, which to me is like, here, you're damaged. Come to chattel slavery. Like fully realize as a human being. Don't just rely on this crutch for the rest of your life. It's pitiful.
Her daughter was a sweetie. Her daughter would always, Mike. I find it interesting that the suicides are high out here. You know, everybody kept telling me, you need to move back west. It's friendlier, it's better. Yeah.
It is both. I mean, the people I've met here have been phenomenal people. I mean, just some of the best people I've ever met in my life. I don't know why you're so fixated on bashing these people aside from your own bitterness as an outcast from them.
A lot of people say hi to me. This is not a friendly area. Denver's not friendly. Even locals have said that to me.
Well, I don't know why the fuck you'd move to Denver, first and foremost. I could have told you not to move to Denver. There are hundreds of nice cities in Colorado. I've been through quite a few of them, and even just passing through them, I learned personal details about like cashiers. Just because they sat there and spoke to me for, 15 or 20 minutes. Clearly, I'd strung out from the road. I was tired. I wanted to talk to a human being. And they knew that. They could see that in me, and they took the time out of their day to talk to me. I mean, in Denver, that's like judging. I mean, I hate to use this as an example, but that's like judging Georgia by Atlanta. Like, okay, I'm not a huge fan of Georgia. I'm not a big fan of the South. But well, okay, that's even a lie. It has its good and its bad. The people are actually really warm down there. Just don't offend their delicate sensibilities, or they will ostracize you immediately and never look back. I can't really blame them for that. It's the social structure, and that's the mores there. But what I'm saying is that there are nice people there. You just went to the worst fucking area. That's like judging everybody by Detroit or St. Louis. Like, yeah, I wouldn't advise that.
But let's continue this little study.
Oh God, I was actually enjoying story time. It was a break from you trying to make sense.
Let me show you by countries, and this will shock you.
I doubt it.
Lists by the World Health Organization 2012.
Who are you?
Guyana, suicides per 100,000 people per year, and it's rated as both sexes. Guyana's 44, South Korea's 28, Sri Lanka's 28, Lithuania 28, Suriname 27, Mozambique 27, Tanzania 24. I mean, right up here in the top 20, India, South Sudan, Turkmenistan, Uganda, Hungary, Japan, Belarus, Zimbabwe, Bhutan, Sudan, Comoros, Ukraine, Poland, Equatorial Guinea.
I can't imagine what he's going to extract from this. Maybe he will blow my mind. Maybe I'll be a convert right here, live on the air. Who knows?
Latvia. Then you get into Finland at 33 on the list. Belgium, Iceland, Angola. You get down to 50 and you run into Uruguay and the United States. And they're right up there with Rwanda, Croatia, Austria, Ethiopia, Thailand, Cuba, Sweden.
You really hit Thailand hard there, man.
Ireland. Australia's in the 60s. Canada's in the 70s. But
What point? What do you make? Make a point.
here's something interesting. China's in the 90s, per country order.
Per capita, more than likely.
But this will shock you all, and I think this is noteworthy. You see, Pacific came alive when he met these people, and I find it interesting that they're way down the list. The Philippines, 150. 150. 2 per 100,000 suicides. Now, there's something to talk about. Filipinos tend to be pretty happy people.
Uh-huh.
But you get on down the list here, the lowest countries would shock you. Haiti, Namibia, Belize, Venezuela, Tunisia, Barbados. There you go, Venus Star. You're at
One way to read that would be that when your life is regularly in mortal peril, you don't tend to kill yourself on purpose. I mean, that is another way to read that, dude. You do see that, right?
158. Bahamas, Jordan, Algeria, Libya, Egypt.
These people are killing each other, dude. These people are killing each other. There are better ways to die. I mean, are they counting suicide bombings by chance? I mean, I'm just wondering.
Azerbaijan, Iraq, Jamaica, Oman, Lebanon, Kuwait, Syria, Saudi Arabia. Now that shocks me to the Middle East.
They get their mortality elsewhere. We in the West get to choose. I mean, that's a luxury, man.
Now, on a list by other sources, Greenland comes in at number 1. 116 suicides per 100,000, but Greenland is mostly, I don't know if it's Inuit or what they're called up there. Lithuania, South Korea, Guyana, Kazakhstan, Slovenia, Sri
He got away from that one quick. You notice that?
Lanka, Hungary, Japan, Poland, Ukraine, Latvia, Russia, Moldova, Serbia, Belarus, Belgium, Uruguay,
Why are you just reading this list? You're not even really giving us any sort of context anymore. You're just throwing this list at us.
Croatia, Sweden, and Bhutan is at 21. United States is at 30 on this list. The Philippines on this list is at 91, but it stops at 107, showing Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Haiti, and Nepal's the lowest.
And
let's see.
Did your brain shut off, or are you just trying to figure out a way to twist this to make sense to you?
Let's see if we can pull this out.
Yeah, I mean, really, like it's just there's suicides per capita per country. I mean, you're trying to draw huge conclusions from this. I do think it's interesting that you're holding up like Saudi Arabia and shit as examples. Like I said, these people have their mortality. Don't worry. I mean, didn't like 800 people get stampeded to death like a week ago?
15 most suicidal cities in America.
I really think he's just like trying to figure out why not to kill himself. I'm not saying he should. I actually would never, and that's his choice entirely. But no, that's not the point. I'm just saying, why would you sit around and just Google suicide statistics? It's really weird and morbid, dude. Like 16-year-old cutters do shit like this.
Las Vegas makes the top of the list.
More than likely, that's because people go to Vegas to kill themselves.
Oops, come on, man.
Is your brain rebooting? I'm afraid to fast forward because I'm afraid to miss something.
15 most suicidal. Okay, come on, this is being stupid.
The machine can't possibly be stupid. It's a user error all the time.
Okay, number 15
Uh-huh.
is Tulsa, Oklahoma.
All right.
14 is Phoenix.
Why did
13 is Fresno, California. Wow. 12 is Portland, Oregon.
Uh-huh.
Lot of liberals in Portland. Lot of liberals. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is number 11.
That's already starting to blow your narrative out of the water there, buddy. I mean, we're talking already at 11.
Pittsburgh is the pits, though. And these are based on cities.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this thing is slow to move.
I thought he had a point
Excuse
to
me,
make.
it's Friday, I'm tired. Wichita, Kansas at 10. Well, I'd commit suicide too if I'd lived in Kansas.
I mean, what does that have to do with the narrative you've been trying to weave for the last, like, 18 minutes?
That's just me. Jacksonville, Florida, number 9. Now, that shocks me.
Doesn't shock me. As a native Floridian, that shit does not shock me. Have you driven through Jacksonville? I don't even want to stop for gas in Jacksonville in case I catch the shoot me. I just shoot me. You just step out of your car and go, nope, I want to die.
Denver, Colorado at number 8. Economic-related suicides in 2009 due to job loss, bankruptcy, eviction, etc.
Wow, all those things I pointed out were the reasons for the stats in the first place.
In Jefferson County, has doubled, going from 16 to 31%. Wow.
Because they can't find work and they see no future.
Jefferson County is where I am. 7 is Miami, Florida.
Man, you better get out of there. It sounds like you're catching the shoot me's.
6 is Mason.
Wait, was that Miami, Florida? I'm sorry, was I shit talking over you saying Miami, Florida?
Jefferson County is where I am. 7 is Miami, Florida.
For fuck's sake, that gets me. But that has everything in the world to do with what? I mean, I can't even, what? What does that have to do with your narrative? I don't have a narrative. I had to just remember I don't care. But you do.
6 is Mesa, Arizona. Again, heavily Mormonized community. 5, Albuquerque, New Mexico. 4 is Sacramento, California. Wow. 3 is Tucson, Tucson, Arizona. 2 is
So,
Colorado
Tucson.
Springs. 1 is Las Vegas. There you
Uh-huh.
have it.
What conclusion have you drawn, sir? Help me to understand.
I don't have thoughts of suicide in me. I did when I was a teenager, but it was
That's pretty common.
because I had a crazy mother and I was going through teen stuff. But why
Well, it couldn't have anything to do with you then.
is it that 45 to 54-year-old men and women are the highest numbers in suicide? Midlife crisis, menopause, job changes, job losses, loss of house, loss of finances. Then you get towards your 60s and you kind of level off and just say, well, I made it this far. Forget the
It's literally all of that, but you were originally trying to say it had something to do with liberalism and God or something.
suicide. There's a lot of stress on us at this age. A lot of stress.
Well, some people flat don't want to stop. Like they hit like their mid 50s and they're like, "What? I gotta quit." I mean, what am I gonna do? Just sit here at the house? I mean,
You realize when you look back over the stern of your life, you didn't make it as successful as you wanted to. Is suicide wrong? Of course it is.
no, no, it's not. It's highly unfortunate, and I feel terrible for the people that feel that that's their only option. But it's not inherently morally wrong.
God does not want us taking our life.
God is somebody you talk to in a closet.
A shock, Seattle didn't make that top 15.
I know it really hurts your narrative.
Tulsa, Vegas, Sacramento, Denver, Colorado Springs, which is
Miami, Florida.
70 miles that way. That's disturbing.
I'm sure that those are not centers of economic poverty. I'm sure.
Pittsburgh, I could see when the steel mills went out. A lot of people kill themselves when they lose their jobs. Anybody remember reading about the 1929, the Great Depression?
You're just hopping around.
People jumped out of their high rises in New York when the stock market crashed.
Uh-huh.
Pretty scary. They put all their eggs in one basket, and when all their eggs went out of the basket, so did they. They lost their minds.
It's like listening to a 4-year-old.
I just thought you'd find that interesting. And why is the Philippines so low? I can give you some ideas. They're poor. Which is proof that America, number 50, that money can't buy happiness. We got more toys, more goodies, more reasons to be happy, and we are the least happy. Look at American women. Look at men today. They are uptight when they get behind the wheel.
Then what? Driving is the problem? And besides that, if you like the Philippines, why are you here?
They don't laugh at funny, clean stuff. They laugh at crude humor that's designed to be satirical and put down of everybody else. You go to the Philippines and they're genuinely happy and they share. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that a lot of Filipinos are thankful, more generous, more compassionate. Materialism breeds uptightness and thanklessness. Have you noticed that?
Well, I mean, I can concur with you there, but materialism has nothing to do with godliness.
I can prove it to you. I can prove it to you over and over.
Can you?
The Philippines,
Just the
low on the
Philippines.
list. I think I should just close with that and let it speak for itself. South Korea? They're free. What's the problem? Japan? Materialistic places, that's why. It suffers from the same thing Americans suffer with. Women are happy with themselves. Let's dye our hair. Let's get Botox, detox, Butox, plug tox.
So by his reasoning, because Saudi Arabia and Yemen and all those great places were high on the list because they don't really do the materialism thing and they're mostly completely focused on their religious beliefs. These are better places to be.
Eye tox, it's ridiculous. Breast implants.
Most people don't do that. That will not be the norm. That's freaking weird, and people get made fun of for doing that on a pretty regular basis.
I had a woman yesterday that I know tell me I don't like my boobs. I looked at her and said, why are you telling me this? She goes, they're heavy and they make my back hurt. I wish I could get them smaller. So now there's a new one.
Not really. I mean, the younger daughter from Modern Family had that done publicly. I mean, she told press outlets about it, and that was one of the reasons she cited. The other was male attention, which was weird.
People get breast implants and now you want breast reduction.
Yeah, okay. I mean, breast reduction is done because it actually can cause damage to your back if your breasts are too big.
Nobody's happy with what they've got.
I am.
Now, I'm not saying the Philippines is perfect. It isn't. But you got to ask why there's less suicide.
Well, again, some of the places you named are like utterly war torn, or they have like uprisings and like revolution groups, and that might be why they're too busy not trying not to get killed to kill themselves.
I think the answer is pretty obvious. They've
Is
learned
it?
to be content. They've learned to live simply,
Uh-huh.
while we simply can't be simple. Middle East countries shock me, but when you're talking about,
But you can't really put that together with the fact that your religion isn't their religion, and that their religion might be the same kind of thinking that you have, which leads to utterly oppressive behavior.
Saudi Arabia and Dubai and stuff, man, they're filthy rich.
Yeah. Yeah, they're filthy rich, they're materialists, all that fun stuff. What's your point? Oh, wait. Oh.
But it is interesting. The U.S. comes in at 50. Home of the free land of the brave. And we're in a 50, number 50 on the list for suicides.
Well, I mean, you haven't actually drawn a conclusion or made a point. You're just stating these things.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Something to think about. Viewers, little sobering message. Don't mind me. We go all over the map and all over the board.
Yeah, you do.
Happy Friday, everybody. This is Pacific signing off. Bye bye.
And on that smug little smile, I give you episode 1 of the sinking of Pacific Ocean liner. And I really hope that, this video isn't foreshadowing.